So this is how high-ranking players play Antimage on a new patch. And today we're gonna witness a rank 196 playing Antimage in this immortal lobby. And so right now for this patch, Dragon Knight is a pretty popular hero, and it will often be played as a mid, carry or offlaner. But in this case, he's going against a Weaver and a Dragon Knight in his lane. And Antimage is actually pretty decent in this lane, as you can see that he can actually eat up Dragon Knight's mana as he has low INT. And that will eventually force him to buy a soul ring for this lane if he wants to secure last hits on the range creeps. One of the aggressive moments of this lane is when the Clockwork tried to harass the enemy by using up his cog. He wanted to burn more of their mana, and as you can see, they actually got baited into it, and they managed to kill the DK while he also DC'd at the same time. But he was already guaranteed dead, so... And so the second part of this aggression is when the Weaver actually uses Shukuchi to harass the Antimage and ended up getting caught by the cog. And from then onwards, he has no way out as the Antimage teleported into him, securing the kill. And also just a little bonus here, if you are winning the lane and you push it into the tier 1 tower, you can always pull out the bait camp to be more efficient, as you can deny creep wave from the enemy as well. And in this case, you can see that he used his creeps to farm the centaur and let his range creep dies. And so when the first time Antimage leaves his lane is when the enemy carry actually dives the tier 1 tower for their offlaner. And it's actually a pretty decent TP as he's already level 6 and he also can blink to the Wraith King to do more damage to him and even suck his mana. And so this is actually a good example that the right time to teleport to other lane as a carry is usually when they are diving your towers. And right away, this is a new situation, as you can see that after you click the creeps under his tower that's being pushed by the enemy offlaner. And the new farming pattern right now is to go for the water camp first, as that's actually the easiest camp to kill and it grows every 5 minutes. And another thing to notice here is that right now there's a new item changes on the Battle Fury that requires you 2 broadsword in order for you to craft the item. And it's also pretty convenient as the actual damage actually allows you to kill ancients at this timing. And so here comes an interesting situation, as you can see that the Antimage finished his Battle Fury and wanted to farm his ancient camps. But in this case, the dire side actually invaded him, which actually caused a team fight in a triangle. And so while Antimage is not necessarily strong with just a Battle Fury alone, and that's why you can see that this guy waited for the enemy to overextend, specifically the Wraith King, as you can see him chasing his teammate under his ward, which actually gives him the information he needs to make the right decision. And that's how you can see how he plays his team fight perfectly, as he gets the support one by one and it seems like he's always making the right plays. And also here's a good example when you are farming the ancients and you are not a lifesteal hero. You can always buy a staff instead to farm the ancients and get your HP back at the same time. It's actually quite a good return investment, as you only spend like 110 gold for a few hundreds from the ancient stacks itself. And so right here 18 minutes in, you can see in the map that the enemy is actually fighting while Antimage is still farming at the top side. And so one of the standard way of helping his team, even though he doesn't have a Manta style yet, is to actually split push and push the top lane. And by doing this kind of split push, you will not only force the enemy to actually TP the top lane to defend the tower, you are also getting farm while moving towards your next item timing. And with that being said, the type of decision making that you have to make over here is whether you need to TP into the fight and help them physically, or you can help a teammate by adding pressure into the map while forcing the enemy to make movements as well. And so while Antimage can also be considered a rat hero, there's also many times in this game where he would have near-death experience that will ruin his perfect score. As you can see how the enemy actually casted all the spells on the Antimage as the DK started the fight with a Blink Dagger, and the enemy Warlock and Huskar actually committed the ultimate but did not get him in the end. And so with the Battle Fury and the Manta style, he's basically ready to fight whenever the opportunity shows. And in this fight you can see that he didn't really have to complete his butterfly, but he still joined the fight regardless, as the Manta style is up and he can basically do quite a lot in this team fight. But instead, the butterfly would have been really sweet, as you can see that the enemy Wraith King actually hits like a truck with the crit on the first hit. And it was at this point that he realized that he can't really man up against a Wraith King without more items. So fast forward 3 minutes later, and you can see that his teammate actually did a good job on catching the enemy Dragon Knight, as they started a fight with the Legion Commander out at him, while the whole team was rolling in for the kill. And so having big kills like this in the mid game definitely means that you have to go for the Roshan, which is Aegis. And over here you can see that Wraith King actually sneaked into the Roche pit, which pretty much instantly murdered the Legion Commander, and at the same time dealing huge chunk of damage to the Antimage, forcing him to make a decision whether to run away or actually wait for the Aegis snatch. He actually managed to steal the Aegis, but he lost it instantly as the Wraith King damage was too much. And luckily for him, his team managed to kill the Wraith King, but not without losing everyone else. And so one of the hardest part of playing Antimage here is knowing when to fight. and you can see instantly in the map that the enemy team is already on a roll and forcing a team fight at his bottom jungle. And this is the exact type of decision making that is crucial for you when you play anti-mage, and that is to whether to fight or to join your team for a team fight. But in this case, this anti-mage doesn't do that. Instead, he pressures the top tower. As you can see that he actually prioritizes his next item timing, which is the Abyssal Blade, into the Lincoln Sphere. And also, in order to help his team that is already dead, he actually pressured the enemy tier 3 tower to actually force them back to defend it. And also in this kind of scenario, Antimage is actually a pretty good hero to base race against the enemy hero, or at least trade it for most of the time. And here you can see that the hero that he actually forced back was the Wraith King itself. And so one of the crucial moments of this game is the moment he reached his battle fury from the split pushing we saw earlier, and that's why he actually stick with his team for the smoke. And also for some extra information, you can see that the DK actually showed the bottom side of the map, which means that if the Radiant were to fight anyone right now, it would easily be a 5v4 situation.